Ciao Juventini of the world, my name is Giuseppe, welcome back on the channel. Usually I'm always hoping that you are doing well. I'm asking you, I hope you're all doing well, and I continue to hope that you are all doing well. But I can guarantee you that today you are not doing as well as I am doing. You are not as happy as I am. Ragazzi, I am super excited. And what is the reason? Because I know something that you don't know. I have a little secret that unfortunately, and I know the most impatient between you will tell me, Beppe, tell us now. But I can't reveal it now. But I promise you that you will not have to wait really long. This afternoon, I will be live for a special edition live on the Juventus Twitch channel. And with Juventus, we will announce something that I am convinced the Juventini of the world will be extremely happy about. So just wait a few more hours and you will know. So what will we speak about in today's video? Big page of Tuttosport, De Paul, Rodrigo a gennaio. De Paul in January. A fondo Juve. Juve is going all in. With some of you that will already write, ready? Beppe, no. Yesterday you spoke about Sancho, you spoke about Samardzic. What are you speaking about? Well, one is not excluding the other ones. We'll come back on that one. We'll also speak about the scouts of Juve that were again monitoring Benfica. Giuntoli was in person already monitoring Benfica the 4th of October during Inter Benfica. So who are we monitoring? We will speak about that. But first, I want to ask you to put the maximum of like on today's video, to continue to subscribe, and to continue to comment in a respectful way, always, but giving me your opinion, that you agree with me, that you don't agree with me, I don't care. But comment, because I read them. Sometimes when I have a bit more time, I'm answering them in a written way, and sometimes, like today, I want to take one and speak a bit about it a bit more in detail. And this is what happened with the comment of Alep7453. That yesterday wrote, "A star is born." That was the title of the live of Monday evening. But play him. Huijsen, Yildiz and Ealing have played less than 150 minutes combined. This is a fact. It's not an opinion. He's stating a fact because it's correct. I double checked, it's correct. Allegri's, capital letters, not playing the young players, that's a false rhetoric. And then the second part of his comment is, of course, an opinion. According to Alep, Allegri is not playing young players. On the other side, everyone is praising the huge, big work that Next Gen is doing, creating some talents. So it's a bit in confliction. Next Gen, promoting players, letting stars born, and then Allegri is not playing them. So what is correct, what is not correct? Again, I appreciate it because it was written in a really respectful way. So thank you, Alep, for your contribution. But let's go deep dive. If it's true that the Allegri 2.0 comes with, of course, the story, the backstory, Allegri is not really playing the youth. And in that first season, it's not really helping. Why? Because if we consider that Da Gracca and Palumbo are playing one game each. If we consider that the Winter played only 2 games, is it really someone that is investing on these youth? Not really. Even Marley Ake is playing 6 games on a total of more than 40 games, more than 50 games. Is it really insisting on the players? Not really. Then we have Caio Jorge, 11 games, only 1 time from the start. Then he had that big injury. What could have happened with Caio Jorge? We don't know. But that season, towards the end of the season, he already showed that he has an eye for young talents of the under 19 of the Next Gen. Why? Because he's promoting temporarily to play some games to Miretti that played 7 games with Juve, 4 as a starters towards the end of the season. And Mattias Soulé giving me already 2 starts with you, or 2 starts, 2 debuts with Juventus. 21-22, can we say that Allegri broke that myth that he's not playing youth? Absolutely not. Even if we can say he already saw some youth players. Last season, much more. And here, it's about gusti, about tasted. Yes or no, did he play a lot of youth? Well, there are some, not that much, there are some much more. Because there are Barbieri, 4 games, Barrenechea, 5 games, and don't forget his official debut with the Juve shirt is against Torino in a derby from the first minute, instead of other players that were available to play, but he preferred that young player, that unknown Argentinian guy that is now doing really well at Frosinone. But then also, Ealing Jr., 18 games, a lot of time subbing in. Mattias Soulé, 19 games. And if for Mattias Soulé We can argue that he didn't really play a lot, that we didn't see the quality that is now showing with Frosinone. Well, Mathias Soulé suffered, especially that moment when we went from a 4-3-3 to a 3-5-2, where there were not really a role for him. But then you have these players, and we go in crescendo, like Miretti, that played 40 games last season, and Niccolò Fagioli 37 games. He suffered at the beginning of the season, and then when the motors was ready, well, Fagioli was a starter at Juventus. Fagioli 37, 40 for Miretti. So is Allegri a coach that is launching players? That is, yes, because there are a lot of players that we just mentioned. Is he a coach that is playing youth? Well, yes, if we are considering that Miretti last season was 19 and he played 40 games with Juventus, we can say that Allegri is playing youth. Same for Niccolò Fagioli. Speaking about Niccolò, 3 games before he was loaned out to Monza for Niccolò Ravella. So here we can already start saying, we saw an evolution. What about this season? Well, this season, 8 games on 9 for Miretti. That it's true. Never played complete games. Fagioli, 66% of the game because he played 6 on 9. Unfortunately, he will not continue to increase that one. He can potentially play the last game of the season. Who knows? Celebrating a Scudetto and go to 7, but that will be the max. Is it the fault of Max? Not really. And then we go towards Ealing Jr. A few minutes for him with 3 appearances on 9, but a few minutes for him. 4 apps for Kenan Yildiz with also for him not a lot of minutes at disposal. So, and Huijsen, of course. By the way, we'll speak about the mega interview of the agent of Huijsen today, and that will follow a little. So what about the next-gen project? Is it really working or not? Well, when we are looking at the loans of the players, we can say that they are doing quite well. Because of Soulé and Barrenechea, without speaking about the Caio Jorge that never really played with the next gen, are doing extremely well. So they can continue to show their talents, and their talents can or bring them back to Juve, or they can bring potentially more money to Juve. That's one. And we are not only speaking about them, because Riccio, that I had the pleasure to have an interview with him last season on the Juventus Twitch channel, yesterday with Modena, they beat 1-0 Brescia. The guy was doing fantastically well. Will he be a starter at Juve one day? I don't believe so. But I'm convinced that it's a player that we can cash in 5-6 million euro that one day will play in Serie A. So, even loaning out players, it's a good strategy because or they can mature and come back, or they can bring us money. And that's one part. And I didn't mention all the other players that we have. Niccolò Fagioli, for example, going on loan to Cremonese, coming back. We have so many evidences of the project that is at the moment working. I'm following Juve for more than 30 years since I was a kid. I never in my life, assisted to something so great in terms of the youth management, because we are doing extremely well. Well, nobody, and that's important, said that the youth academy players, they need to be starters at Juve. And that's a distinction that we have to do. That's really something that we have to split. Who said, where is it written that all the players of next gen at a certain moment, they need to be starters in Serie A as per direct? Who said also that the maximum age to be considered youth players is 17, 18? Because if you're looking at the players that play this season, we have a lot of them that are 23. Our friend Alep said Beppe, but only in Italy we are considering 23 years old players young players, which is partially also correct. But it's already something that Juventus is doing, being the club that is having the average age, the minimal average age from all the top clubs in Italy. So we can already say that there we have an evolution. So what about our babies that are coming from the next gen that are probably not playing as much as we want? There is something that you have to keep in mind. These players, when they were playing with under 19, when they were playing with under 23, that is the next gen player in third division, well, it's not that they were winning trophies after trophies. Our next gen team didn't arrive in the 6 years of existence in the top 5. They won one time the Coppa Italia Serie C. That's it. Other than that, not really. So they were players that were developing, were players that are probably not ready to win the third division. So let it be Serie A. If tomorrow we promote all our players and we'll all let them play immediately, I don't believe that at the moment we would have been at -2 from Inter. But what is the great thing of having that instead of in the past? That today we can have a bench of Miretti, Nonge, Huijsen, Kenan Yildiz, Ealing Jr., and I forget probably some people, that are on the bench that cost you €0 because they are your own player or really, really little money. They have a salary that is super, super low. And this player, more you have, can be today already ready to be subbed in, or can give you the opportunity to keep your money to invest on other players. And that's why today we are speaking about Mercato. And today we are speaking about a De Paul on top of Samardzic, which in the past would have been impossible for Juventus. So thanks to the fact that we are saving a lot of money on salary and on the value of players because we are letting them grow, well, we are benefiting for that, for going with more money on the market. So these players, are they ready to play 90 minutes in a row? All of them? Not yet. Is Allegri playing them? Yes, he's doing. Is he playing them enough? We don't know. We don't know. Honestly, personally, I don't know. I would love to see a team created by Yildiz, by Huijsen, by Ealing Jr., by Nonje, but I can't guarantee you that would have been today at -2. And that's why it's important to consider that the next gen project is really working. It's really a project that is working extremely well, because that money saved can go towards the Mercato, because these young players are on the bench of Juventus. We're speaking about the Juventus that, according to a lot of tifosi, is obliged to compete to win the Scudetto. According to some, is even obliged to win the Scudetto this year. Well, these babies have the opportunity not only to enter in some game, but to train in every single day with the first team of Juventus, with champions like all the one that we have in first team, like a Federico Chiesa, like a Dusan Vlahovic, like a Rabiot, like a Locatelli, like a Bremer. So the growth of these players will even be more accelerated. So do I think that the next gen project is working? Absolutely yes. Do I think that it will be beneficial also for the future? Absolutely yes. Do I think that it will be beneficial for the Mercato? Absolutely yes. Do I think that Allegri is playing the youth well? If you have the stats in your hand, and he's the only coach of Serie A that is launching 2 players born in 2005, I can tell you yes, especially if you're looking at a Miretti with 40 games last season, a Fagioli with 37 games last season, I can confirm yes. But now we go towards that interview of Dean Huijsen, because it's fine that I can explain you, but what are the direct interested players saying about it? Well, the agent of Huijsen spoke about it in Tuttosport. Neppure la neve ha fermato la Juve. Not even the storm and the snow stopped Juventus. What are they speaking about? Well, beautiful interview today in Tuttosport from the agent of Huijsen that is following him since he was really a kid, since he was 12 years old, so he knows him really, really well. He said, what will Dean remember from that game of Milan-Juve? Well, he said, we already joked about it, we already spoke about it, and that big contrast, that big duel with Kalulu will be something that he will never forget. But also that night, that win, that debut in the San Siro are things that he will never forget. But then he spoke about how Juventus started to get in contact with him, how they actually chose for Juve instead of other teams. And he said, I can tell you that even Jordi Cruyff, that was back then one of the sporting directors of Barcelona, came in person to watch him and to contact him because he wanted to sign him for Barcelona. At the end, they preferred Juventus over Barcelona and over Bayern Munich for 2 reasons. The first one is Juventus has been extremely clear, and it was impressive how Juventus was clear in going into the details to plan already a future for Dean Huijsen and already the career that he could have done. So the plan was clear immediately. It was not even a Juve player. They were already going there to have some discussion, to speak with Malaga, with the agents, and they already had the future career plan for Dean Huijsen. This was really impressive. The second one, of course, is that playing in Serie A for a defender, well, it's a bit like having a master in defense, because Serie A is known for that. Do you remember the words of Mourinho? Do you remember even De Ligt that said exactly the same when he came to Serie A? He said, going in Italy, going at Juve, where can you learn even better to become a complete defender? So these are the 2 reasons. Who are the examples, the idols of Dean Huijsen? We're saying he's inspiring himself to Chiellini, Sergio Ramos, Van Dijk, De Ligt. Well, if we can hope that he can do a career like the 4 players that we just mentioned, mamma mia, we have a fantastic defender there. Who is the person that Dean Huijsen, an agent, can thank? From Juventus, they said Matteo Tognozzi. He's a guy that we don't speak enough about. We speak about Juventus as a club, we speak about Allegri, we speak about Giuntoli now. Sometimes more and more we are speaking about Manna, but I already told you, pay attention because we have a fantastic person that is Tognozzi, that is a fantastic scout. The one that was able to find some talents a la Sule, for example, or Kenan Yildiz. Well, he was the one that immediately saw the potential of Dean Huijsen, and he went there to watch a game between Malaga and Granada in Spain during COVID time, not first division, youth academy. He went there in a total disaster temperature. There was storm, there was snow. He was there to watch it. He even had to stay 2 days more in Malaga. Why? Because of that storm. He couldn't go back, but he really insisted. He wanted to be there to be in contact. And this is something, of course, that was extremely appreciated. So pay attention to Tognozzi, that is a fantastic scout. I hope we can keep him for really years because he's someone that is doing really the difference. Especially now that a lot of players already did the step to be promoted to the first team, we need to find new talents. What about the relationship with Massimiliano Allegri? They said extremely well, really professional. He's really guiding him and explaining him and telling him how he can grow day by day by day. Already the fact that he brought him to the USA was already a big sign that Allegri is believing in him, and now we are starting to take the fruits that were on the ground from it. And then he continued with the last one. What about the contract extension? He said, we could have gone to other teams. We even could have gone on loan with the opportunity to even play more, but we wanted to continue to give trust to a team that believed in us from the first days. So that's something that Juventus always kept their word in everything that they said to us, and we wanted just to give that trust and to continue the project with Juventus staying here. So ragazzi, if we are looking at that and listening to the words of the agent of Huijsen, what can we say? If you are listening to the persons themselves, the interested person, he didn't say, but Allegri didn't even play him. He didn't even start him. He only started him in a few minutes in Milan, waiting for match day night. No, the guys are happy, super happy with the project and how we started. So, ragazzi, I think that now we have a complete answer to say to Alep, I believe it's really working and Allegri is playing them. Now, we go back to the first page, to the poll. Rinforzo Scudetto. The poll, reinforcements for the Scudetto. What are they speaking about? Yesterday we were speaking about Samardzic. Well, one thing is sure, one is not excluding the other one. The poll is not playing as much as he wants with Atletico Madrid. Could have gone to Arabia this summer, he preferred not. He stayed at Atletico Madrid, but unfortunately, he's a bit that superstar sub on the bench, not playing enough minutes. And he's looking for other teams, which Atletico Madrid already put their eyes on Fabian Ruiz, also him not playing that much with Paris Saint-Germain. So Fabian Ruiz could go in January to Atletico Madrid, with Juventus going with a loan, with an option or obligation to buy. Of course, if you are there in Champions League next season, you will have that obligation to buy. A bit the same method as we are doing for Samardzic. Well, it's a player that could come in January. What do I believe about the Pole? Extremely talented guy, fantastic player when he was at Udinese in Serie A. But it's a player that is 29 years old, that can give you, yes, some experience, but it's a player that I don't believe too much about it. I'm scared to live again that situation of Paredes last year. An Argentinian guy that is coming, supposed to increase the level immediately and having an impact immediately at Juve, and then, because of character, because of behavior, because of I don't know what, is not able to perform immediately. I would be extremely scared to sign him. Is he a good player? Yes, he is. He's a player that didn't convince me a lot during the World Cup, except the final where he was extremely well. I'm not sure. Then, of course, if you're telling me, Beppe, we have only 21 years old player like Samardzic that never proved themselves on a high level, I can understand that you're looking for an equilibrium, a balance between young player that you want to launch and mature player, experienced player. But at the moment today, I'm not 100% convinced. If it's the Pole on loan with a Samardzic, why not? If it's only the Pole and you can't go for Samardzic, I would be a bit sad. But Juventus is already thinking about the future. and I will reveal you the name, but please tell me also your comments about the poll, what you think about it. Well, you know that yesterday there were 2 scouts of Juve that were monitoring the game of Benfica, that they lost yesterday 1-0. You remember they went there in the 4th of October, Inter Benfica. Well, Juventus was there again yesterday. So I went with the 2 teams that played, the 2 starting lineup, to try to understand who are we speaking about. And if in the first game you had 11 players that started the game, 4 of them didn't play yesterday. We are speaking about Angel Di Maria, Kokshu, Bernat, and Felipe Morato. Yesterday were 4 new players that didn't play that first game where we were there. Antonio Silva, David Jurasek, Joao Mario, and Peter Musa. So who are the players that are remaining? We have 7 players remaining. Do we really need a new goalkeeper? No, I don't believe so. Are we looking for someone in the defense? Could it be Nicolas Otamendi? Could be. But I don't believe that the captain of Benfica will leave. So, with some rumors about what we are hearing about, all the direction is going towards that young 19 years old player is called Joao Neves. We already spoke about it in the channel in the beginning of the month. 19 years old, right foot player. A guy that is not that tall, is 174, but it's a guy that is fantastic about the way that he's playing. He just took over the position left from the guy that went, Enzo, that went to Chelsea. A player that is playing a bit as a mezzala in a 4-2-3-1. Mezzala, double midfield there, where he can really play on that right side of the field. A guy that is really, really great. 19 years old. Is it the B plan to Samardzic? Is it the B plan for the poll? Is it just a new opportunity that we can go for, not in January, but maybe next season? Well, we have to monitor, but it's not a coincidence that Juventus is already going for the second time to watch and monitor that player at Benfica. So attenzione for that one. Then we can finish with the front page of Gazzetta and about Corriere dello Sport. Gazzetta dello Sport is speaking about Inter because yesterday they won 2-1. Today there will be Milan that will be in Paris to play against Paris Saint-Germain, so big game in Champions League. I don't know if I will watch it or not. Let me know if you will watch it or not. And then Corriere dello Sport is speaking about Italian style, I don't know, because 2-1 for Inter against Salzburg, and then Napoli that won 1-0 against Berlino. If you are speaking about Cortomuso, Italian style, you are criticizing it when Allegri is winning 1-0, and then you are praising it when the Italian teams are winning it against minor teams in Champions League. I don't know. I still need to understand it. Anyway, that was it. Yes, there are also some talks about Calciopoli. There are talks about Super League. There are talks about a lot of things, about Tonali that will probably find a plea deal for 10 months. Things that I have no time to speak about in today's video. Maybe we'll come back on that this evening. Maybe we'll organize a live, or otherwise it will be just postponed to tomorrow. Ragazzi, maximum of like. If you didn't yet, please continue to subscribe to the channel and wait for the mega surprise this afternoon. Grazie, forza, Juve.